Good morning. Hello, my name is Safai. We're going to be looking into the self in world or self in social world, but more specifically, the spotlight effect. The experiment that we're going to be looking into is Timothy J. Lawson's study of 2010 of the social spotlight increases blindness to change blindness. His research question was, do the time and resources people put into effect to play off in a sense that others notice these changes as much as people believe they do? And his hypotenuse was, well, he had two. The first one was others are more likely to notice changes in our appearance, and the second one was we are likely to overestimate to an extent where we believe others notice our appearance. And he had two studies done, but both studies had undergrads that were in psychology and at the College of Mount St. Joseph's. In the first study, he had about 43 sessions done, but he had to drop 4 because they called out something in the study they weren't supposed to at the time. In the first one, they had about 175 undergrads, and they split them up between observers and target person, which the target people are someone that they picked from when they first walked in, being the observers. And the whole study was basically that when they did pick the target person, they would take them into an empty room and give them a task to do, like a questionnaire, and then they would have the observers do the same questionnaire. After both groups were done, they would tell the target person to put on a gray sweater, and then they can join the group. Once they join the other group, the target person and the observers would all do a like play a game and try to pick something out from a box and have someone go onto the hall and see if they can remember what was picked from the box or wasn't left into the box. And then after the whole game was done, they would have everyone move into another room, but the target person would have to stay behind to help clean up. And then that's when they would change them into another sweater with AE or American Eagle on it. And then they would go join the observers. Once they did this, they were to see if any one of the observers group would notice the change in the sweaters. If not, that was still fine. But when after they finished playing another game, they split up the groups again and put them in their separate rooms. And they had the target person ask how many people they think noticed the changes in their sweaters, and then they asked the observers if they noticed any one with a specific change to them. In the second study, it was a lot similar to the first study, but the only difference was that they had only 30 sessions in this, and they had 3 groups dropped out based on error, and they only had 134 undergrads participating in this study, and they also added another category. So this one, they had not just the target person and the observers, but they also had the informed observers, which was one other person they picked from the group to observe the target person changing into their sweaters. The only thing is that they were not allowed to say anything about the sweaters being changed. So, like I said, it's the same as the other study. So when both the target person and the observer or informed observer came back into the group after witnessing the changing of the sweaters, they were to play another game, and then when everything else was done, they separated again and they asked the target person and the informed observer how many people they think noticed a change, and they also asked the uninformed observers if they noticed any change in the group. The final results were that in the first study, the target person only really thought that 24% observers noticed a change in their sweaters, when really only about 12% of observers noticed a full-on change. In the second study, it was that the target person believed that about 38% people noticed, and then the informed observer thought about 20% noticed change, when really only 11% observers noticed. So in conclusion, you can see that observers don't really notice changes when it happens unless it like only a few minor details. And my final thoughts on it all is that really this study, I can see where they were doing with this study. I noticed that people really overestimate things around them and they think that people are always staring at them, but really it's all in our heads. And that the only problem I can see with the study is that when people are really distracted, they're less likely to notice things, which I see that they're trying to do this in the study, but maybe that was a problem in this certain situation. Thank you.